baby. So we are on our way to Chicago for a church planting convention, and I'm about to have Billy tell you all about that. Billy and Chelsea and I are driving, and where are we going, Billy?
We're going to Chicago, Illinois to the Seeds Conference. It is a church planting conference where we're going to visit a church plant, thriving church plant, with the church plant coordinator as well. And we're going to learn all about the Acts model, plant model with Anthony WagenerSmith. It's going to be great.
Wow. I got my own desk, guys. Billy just tried to call me, so I better go. Billy, what do you get when you go to Jamba Juice?
I only get the bowl. Yeah.
Mango's the rule. If you go to any place that has mango, you get mango. Sorry, CCC. I'm going to Illinois.
And the world that God has placed you in is your world, right? It's the street corners, it's the supermarkets, it's where you're working. That's the world that God has placed us in. Natty is here. Anybody know what the initials Natty stand for? I'll leave it accepted from the pastors. North American Division Evangelism Institute.
I want us to think about this weekend, evangelism and church planting. They go hand in hand.
First night, it went well.
So good! Anthony, man, you have such a presence about it. It gets you so motivated. I'm like, ooh, what are we going to learn tomorrow?
And I just want you to know, Central California Conference, I actually was asked by someone here. Billy and I both were. So Colorado and Central California, listen, your people are loyal. Pool time.
One admission for the continental breakfast.
Let's see what we got here. We got some eggs, we got some gravy, we got some biscuits, and those don't come from Morning Star, so I'm not gonna have those. It's just deranged practices of a lunatic. I'm here with the second generation Spanish church plant. Is that how I say it? Oh, you're asking me.
That's the proper way to say it, yes.
So when did you guys start? How long have you been going for?
So the project started almost 3 years ago, but we didn't really get to formalize our worship services till about a year ago. So we've been meeting for a year now, Sabbath mornings, a year and a half.
So what's kind of your mission? What are you guys looking to accomplish?
Well, I would say that our mission is to find those in the community of Logan Square that are English-speaking speakers, and then provide for them a home where they can find Jesus and just get familiar with the gospel and worship with us.
So would you say that kind of your main focus is like reaching out to Latinx people who may not want to go to a Spanish-speaking church? Is that kind of the...
When we first started, that was our, we have a lot of, in the mother church, and it's a Spanish church, but we had a lot of English speakers. So we thought, let's start one for English speakers, especially for all the young people that we had, and the community around us is very English speaking.
Well, we started our group with a number of 15 to 20 in attendance every Sabbath morning, but now after a year and a half, our attendance have increased to 45 to 50. So the Lord's been good. It's been a blessing to be there and see what the Lord is doing. Right here next to me, I have my sister.
I'm a new one.
And she's our outreach director.
What are you guys doing for outreach? What's your main...
Well, one thing that I've been looking at deeply is TMI. total member involvement. And a few weeks ago, I was able to, with the Mother Church and our church group, to do a presentation for them about how they play an intricate role in ministry. And we've all been called to minister. So it's not just the pastor's job. They shouldn't have the weight of doing it all. And so I wanted to let them know that they each have something to contribute to ministry and meeting the needs. And when that ended, I created a list of all the things they said they were interested in doing, working with the elderly, working with the youth, doing Feed My Starving Children, and I got a list of things that individuals want to do, so I look forward to working with them to fulfill those things they want to do. Mission driven.
Right. So what is one of the more unique ideas that you've heard from some of your members?
I think one of the things, I don't know if it's unique, but I think one of the things that I keep hearing or keep seeing is working with the elderly. We know that sometimes we feel that our elderly, sometimes they've been left behind, so to speak, and they've lived their life and they've contributed in all of this, but there are those who have a heart for reaching out to the elderly. So I saw that a few times when I went down my list of what would you like to do in ministry.
You guys really seem like you have a passion for reaching out to people who feel like they've been left behind and giving them a place to be and have community and feel love. That's awesome.
That's been wonderful. I love this group.
You guys were sharing how North Shore is around 60 years old. Praise God. But that means 65 years ago, roundabout, someone had a radical vision to leave where they were to go to where you're at and start that new church. Can you identify people that are still have a living memory to that first generation story? Can you interview them? Can you call them up front? Can you celebrate and affirm? And that helps prepare the church to understand that they are a church planting church. And it's been a long time since they were planted, but when will they do that now for someone else? Take an honest look on why people left and aren't coming back. Pastor friend of mine, Harold Altamirano, does anybody know him? He was, and I'm speaking here, the second generation church. He was a youth, young adult associate at a larger Spanish church. And he wanted to plant, but the church leadership was open, but a lot of the membership, they weren't thinking that this is a great thing to plant a church in English, right? Because we have our unique cultural focus. I'm sure you never encountered that mindset. Jesus said, go into all the world and teach Spanish. No, wait. Teach English, teach German. He said, make disciples, right? And so you guys are on the cutting edge of finding ways to do that for the next generation. And he went to the leadership. And what he did is they gave him 20 minutes to do a devotional. What he did is he said, I want to make a list on the whiteboard of every child or grandchild in this leadership circle who was raised in the church and is no longer here and not coming back. And he put names on the board of all these second, third generation kids and grandkids who are not there. And they are not coming back. You can tweak, you can change, they're not coming back. And then he said, what are you going to do about it?
That if we have a small, limited vision, then our church will only grow the size of our vision.
That's right.
But if we have a big vision, we can never outgrow the size of God's vision for us.
Airbnb up here.
Billy, where are we going? We're going to church?
Yeah, we're going to church.
Where's church, Billy?
But first,
All I see is this.
First we gotta stop at the mall.
This looks like the mall on Sabbath.
Your lifetime of church planting starts here. Unfortunately, with a lot of business closing, that opens opportunities for churches to run.
If you have a successful business, don't bring it to Chicago because we're trying to plant churches here. So this is Ed, and Ed is...
I am one of the elders and one of the leaders at Epic Church Suburbs.
So Ed, tell us a little bit about your church plant.
Let's see, what can I tell you about my church plant? So we're here in the Yorktown Mall. Our church planted about 2.5 years ago. We started from an idea of just trying to do church a little differently, and we paired up with Epic Chicago, which they had already planted, and we said we wanted to learn more about what the Epic culture was about, and God kind of opened up the doors for us to be inside of the Yorktown Mall. And today we run an operation that does free art for the community from 2 to 4. So we provide all the crafts and the art supplies, and families come together and gather around the table and do free art, which allows us to have conversations with them, get to know the community a little more, get to know what they need, and that usually opens up conversations about God, about worship. And then we have have our worship space inside that storefront as well, inside the mall. So after 4 o'clock, we start our worship experience, and we invite people from the community to stick around and enjoy worship. And so it's a great opportunity for us to open ourselves up to the community.
And you were saying too that you feel that there are a lot of people that are coming to this that would never have come to just like a church.
Absolutely. There's Adventists that that are looking for a new church that are coming. There's non-Christians that come here and never would experience a church inside of a mall, which is kind of unique in itself. But at the same time, they've never experienced a church where we are really focused on creating relationships with them. And that is the focus that we have with Epic, and the goal is to create relationships that create deep-rooted Christians, right? And the more that you relate with them, the more they're accepting of faith, they're accepting of somebody praying for them. And so we follow up throughout the week, by having coffee with them, going out to have lunch, calling them, so that they know that this wasn't just a one moment that they had with us inside the mall, but it's something that's reoccurring in relation.
Awesome. So what kind of crafts do you offer?
So we offer all kinds of crafts. We do like little birdhouses, little treasure chests, planes, and these are items that we build on Friday nights. All of our members come together, we build all those little crafts, and then we have them available for kids to select, and then they paint those crafts. Today in particular, we're having also pottery. We have 3 wheels that our pottery instructor will go in and show kids how to do pottery. And we also have a spray paint artist that's going to come today to do spray paint art for the kids as well. Every first Saturday of the month, the spray paint artist comes and does an artwork there and shows kids how to do spray paint, basically defacing buildings. No, we'll try to avoid that.
So the craft outreach section of this Epic Church just ended, and now we're going into the church portion.
Where am I? God looks at each one of us, whether we are in the household of faith or outside of the household of faith, and God says, there's nothing I wouldn't do to save you.
So that was it. That was the weekend. Thank you so much, Anthony and Natty and Illinois Conference, for just sponsoring and doing the Seeds Conference. It was absolutely phenomenal. Guys, this is it. This is the tip of the spear. This is the future of the church. Chicago has 18 Seventh-day Adventist churches, and that's 18 churches for 234 square miles with 10,000 people per square mile on average. Now, compare that to Berrien Springs. Berrien Springs has roughly about 5,000 people when the students are here, and we've got 9 churches. Not to mention, that's all in an area of 640 acres. Bruh. Guys, we have to go out to the people. Our churches can't be castles. Hello! We have to be mobilized. We have to go out and find people. We gotta love people where they're at. Epic Church is a great example of this. They're going out and they're reaching a specific community that most of our churches wouldn't reach. We're talking middle to upper class families with small children who shop at a mall. That's their demographic. And so you have to be intentional about loving the people in the best way that this group of people needs to be loved. There's so many needs in Chicago. You've got sex workers, you've got drug and alcohol addicts, you've got gang violence, you've got violence in general. And on top of that, there are people from various ethnic, religious, and economic factors. Epic Church demonstrated this point uncomfortably clear to me. I've never shaken hands with so many non-Adventist, non-Christian people, and I honestly was running out of things to say. But we need to learn how to speak to all these people from all these different countries and cultures and customs and political opinions, because they are people that Jesus loves. And yes, the church does bring people together and boundaries break, and eventually we find our identity in Jesus. But that's eventually. It's after discipleship. It's not going to work to just shotgun our information out there and expect that they're going to come to us. We have to go out to them. And this isn't just in Chicago, this is all across the country. We've seen a decline in Christianity, not because people are becoming more evil and deranged. People have always been evil and deranged. The reason is because we've become stagnated, we've become defensive and fortified, and have failed to go out and to share the love of Jesus in a way that these people can tangibly feel it, and then sharing the gospel in a way that they can understand. So my question for you is, what are you planning on doing? We'd love to hear about that in the comments below. Any ideas, comments, concerns that you have. I'm also going to link the 2 websites for the churches that we visited here. Ed also asked if I could link the financial page to the Epic Church so that you could give to this church plant. It's a lot of money to rent a mall space. It's a lot of money to provide all those arts and crafts for free. And so if that's something that you're interested in helping out with, I know that they would appreciate that. Also, Natty is wanting to be helping churches and conferences to get excited and to learn how to church plant. So if you're interested in starting something up, having Anthony come and do a presentation or do a Seeds weekend in your area, I'm going to link his page down below so you can get in contact with him and set that up. As always, I'd appreciate it if you liked and commented and subscribed on this video. Can't wait to see you next time, but in the meantime, here's 2 videos, check them out, and yeah, later.